Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Collective Gamer 77 here, and today we'll have a quick Final Fight arcade cab review. Now this is probably one of my favorite arcade 1-up cabinets in regards to variety. You get 4 different games: Final Fight, 1944, Ghosts and Goblins, and Strider. Starting off with Final Fight, I love this arcade cab. The design, the marquee, everything about it just brings me back to 1989 when I saw this arcade cabinet at my local 7-Eleven. I couldn't rush in to put in that 25 cents to play it. My favorite character is Guy, but for this gameplay I decided to play Hagar for a bit. Again, arcade ROM, arcade perfect, graphics much bigger. And for 1989 this was a revelation, because prior to that playing Renegade with much smaller characters, not quite as detailed. Here the background characters were large, they were well animated, the hitboxes are pretty decent. There are of course some times when you kind of miss some of the enemies when you're trying to align them in the plane, but it was definitely a learning curve. Of course, a special move, wonderful to play with, really simple to play, but a little bit harder to master with just a jump button, attack button, and of course pressing both unless it's your super, depending on your character. And of course there's also jump attack moves, grab attack moves. Hagar is awesome, especially for grapplers, because you can pile drive, throw folks with definitely some authority. The graphics themselves have no slowdown. The screen here is one of the best that Arcade 1-Up has started to do with their second generation, possibly even almost third generation of arcade cabinets. Again, as part of being that mid-generation between second and third, it still has unfortunately only a single stereo speaker, and that kind of detracts some of the sound, but otherwise does not affect any of the gameplay whatsoever. It is a quarter muncher. It definitely was made to suck your quarters. Fortunately, it was one of those ones where 1/4 play could get you at least, a good level or two in, depending. It had some hard bosses. Some were a little cheap, especially once it gets surrounded, or especially if you use your special move, because that actually takes away some of your life. This brawler was definitely pretty much often imitated. This is definitely one of the OGs, and really the only main reason why I bought this cabinet, as the other games were a bit earlier till the time when I actually went to the arcades. So I will admit that I don't have as much experience with Ghouls and Ghosts, Strider, and a little bit with 1944. This again is the main reason why I bought this cabinet, because as I'm a huge fan. Ghosts and Goblins, another arcade perfect ROM port for Arcade 1-Up. This is definitely a game that I played on the Nintendo just because it is hard, unless you memorize the whole stage. One hit takes away your armor, the next hit basically kills you. I did not play this in the arcade often just because I didn't want to lose my money so quickly. Still, awesome game, graphics, arcade perfect. Isn't really that hard, especially since the sprites are smaller. There's definitely more enemies on screen, and there's a few more things going on. One of the things that I do love about this game is the difficulty level. It's both kind of positive and a negative, as I die very quickly. Next up is 1944, the Loop Master. This is a shoot 'em up, and it's a wonderful addition to this arcade cabinet. Again, I do love this cabinet because it gives you different genres to try out. I am horrible also at these shooter games, but I do have fun with them. They're a lot more fun with 2 players. The screen does get pretty busy once everything gets going and everything is coming at you. The sounds and graphics are wonderful. It's very well animated. It throws a lot at you at the screen with very little slowdown to the gameplay itself. Again, for this type of shoot 'em up, it is a one hit and you're dead. Definitely very much an arcade game made to suck down your quarters like Ghouls and Ghosts. The graphics on this one is a bit more polished for its time. Gameplay itself is pretty straightforward. Your ship moves all over the screen in of course, 2D fashion. Forwards, backwards, left and right. A lot of special effects as far as explosions going on, bullets, missiles coming at you. Sometimes once the bullet hell comes, it's kind of hard to keep track of what's coming at you or what's about to hit you. Again, a wonderful addition, arcade perfect. Last, of course, and not least, is Strider, the arcade game. I also never played this game in the arcade. I was able to play it in the Sega Genesis for a little bit. Of course, that was a much different version with a little bit, I would say, a little easier compared to this arcade game. It is, you at least get at least 3 hits before you die. The graphics themselves are nice. The character models are fairly large for its time. Again, released back in the late 80s. Gameplay is a straightforward action platformer. And it's kind of sad that Strider isn't used as much in other games besides fighting games. I would have loved to have seen an even more of an updated version of Strider besides the one that came out in the arcade for Strider 2 or the original PlayStation. The game itself has, again, it's a little bit pattern memorization. The enemies come back off screen, so if you go left to right and come back, they will kind of regenerate. That adds to the difficulty of the game itself. But again, this game, arcade perfect graphics, looks exactly the same. No slowdown whatsoever. Controls are fairly easy to learn, but hard to master. Great game to have as part of this collection. In summary, for these 4 games in this arcade cabinet, I definitely recommend it. If you do see it at your local Walmart, possibly even Amazon or GameStop, anywhere from say $200 to $299, easily recommend it. This is one of the Arcade 1-Ups cabinets that actually gives you different genres of games, so it's not just the same. So you give a little bit more bang for your buck, and as far as being able to have a bit more fun, especially with friends and 2 players. All these games, besides Ghouls and Ghosts, is really made for 2-player gameplay. So 3 out of 4 isn't too bad. The build quality, the graphics, the screen, sound effects, pretty much the same as the other Arcade 1-Up cabinets. Again, really the only knock with these early cabinets is that single stereo speaker. Again, another cabinet that I would have loved to have had stereo speakers or dual speakers. Again, if you can find it for a good deal, anywhere between $200 to $299, definitely I recommend it pick up. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe.